Okay, welcome back to Basic Black. I'm May.
Angel.
And we're going to talk about Joe Biden's error in judgment in his comment concerning his relationship with the voters, particularly black voters. So he was on a show, a radio show called The Breakfast Club, speaking with Charlemagne the God, and it came up about why should we vote for him as a community, as a people. Mm-hmm. And he said to the effect, if you... Sorry.
So he asked him, like, we've got more questions along the way to November. That was what Charlemagne the God had asked. And he responded, because he was on his way out, so he was trying to leave. And he said, I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Now, I put the inflection on it, but you ain't black.
He
But
did have that kind of inflection. It was like, if you can't tell between me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Right.
What do you mean we ain't black?
Right. And it's kind of a mixed reaction for me, because on one hand, I understand where he was going with his comments, because he's basically saying Trump has done nothing for the African American community.
Right.
So I think that's where he was going with his comments, but the way they came off was kind of not quite right.
Not quite right.
Right. And I'll be honest, when I was watching it like...
Yeah, my eyebrows like... Are you... What?
Yeah. And I just pictured his aides in the back going, no! Cut! Don't say that! Right?
Yeah. Just and my problem with it is that he's been riding the Obama train for so long that he just assumes that black people are going to want to vote for him because he was vice president to Obama. Right. But what are you doing? What are you doing?
And that's my biggest issue with Joe Biden. What are you doing? Because he mentions Obama in almost every speech he gives. And if he's directing something to the African American community, he starts talking about his track record, and then he always has something to say about President Obama. We know President Obama, lock. Yeah. He is on lock for being the greatest president ever. Great president. Yeah. So that's clear. But for you, if you're trying to pull voters, not just the African American vote, but if you're trying to pull voters, you've got to show the American people what you can do.
Right.
What can you do for us?
Right.
Now, the danger in this, is because it literally is a split in our country. Yeah. Between Trump and Biden at this point. And people are asking, who should we vote for? Right? Because I think it's pretty clear when you talk about like the Democratic Party and people who support the Democratic Party, it's pretty clear. They don't want to vote for Donald Trump.
At all.
They don't want to vote for him. Yeah. But if Joe Biden keeps doing dumb behind stuff like he did the other day, that's going to be a problem for people, because they've got to have a candidate they can back.
Right, and we had talked about it earlier in that one of the reasons why Hillary lost was that people just didn't go out and vote. They're like, well, we don't like her either, so we're just not going to bother. They assumed that there would be enough people voting to where it would affect the Electoral College and Trump would not be in. However...
Right. And that's the problem that I've seen, especially going on social media and looking at different comments and things that people are saying. A lot of them are saying, that might cost the vote. Like, I'm not going to vote for him. Right. But we already know that they're not going to vote for Trump. Right. So Trump is sitting back going, yeah, don't go vote. Because that helps him. That's how he got elected last time. Because people did not show up to the polls. Rather than choosing the lesser of the two evils and trying to say, okay, who's going to be less wrong? They're saying, we're just not going to go at all. Right. And that's dangerous. Right. Because you got to show up and you got to cast that vote. Right. Now, let's look at what he said. Okay. Let's look at what Joe Biden said. And I'm going to read it again. I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. See, I can't help but put the but you ain't black. Because that's how I heard it.
Right. That's how I heard it too.
That's how I heard it. So I can't help but put the inflection on it. But what exactly was he trying to say? Right?
But that's a hard thing to do when you're looking like, but you're white. How are you telling me I ain't black? Because of what? Because I'm trying to figure out who you are,
right,
as a candidate.
Exactly, and like you said earlier, he can't just assume because we're black, we're gonna automatically vote for him.
Right.
He can't assume that if any black folks are showing up to the polls, they're voting for me, so I have that locked down because you don't.
Right.
What Charlemagne the God was saying is, what are you going to do for us?
Right.
And that's what black voters want to know.
Right.
Trump has a history. He has a track record.
Right.
We are pretty clear he does not care about the African American community.
Right.
Joe Biden needs to show us that he does care about the African American community.
Right.
Now, I give him kudos for going on the show in the first place.
Right.
That was very dangerous politically, and you see what happened. It was dangerous for him to go on the show, but he had the balls to do it.
Right.
He went on the show and he said, okay, let me tell you about some of the things that I've done for for the black community and things like that. He tried.
Right.
I give him props for at least trying.
Right.
Would Trump have gone on that show?
No.
No,
he wouldn't.
He wouldn't go on it. He
wouldn't even acknowledge it.
Right. He would, and I'm pretty sure he's been invited.
Right.
So, and I'll have to look it up to fact check, but I'm pretty sure he's been invited. But he would never have the guts to go on a show like that.
In fact, I don't think, other than Fox News, I don't believe he's made any rounds to any other news outlet or talk show or anything, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other clips and things like that and news clippings, nothing showing that he's even made the rounds other than Fox News, and then his own press conferences and his pep talks for himself when he talking about how great he's done
ego
with the virus.
strokes. Exactly. Yeah, what he thinks that fiction he likes to spin. So and so I give Joe Biden props for putting himself in that position. Because he came on the show. Right. He answered questions, and then he had to leave, and then, it all went wrong. Right. It all went horribly wrong from there. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Right?
I'm trying to break it down and get to the heart of what he's saying, but it's the assumption that's getting me.
Right, and I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, is the assumption that we're just automatically going to vote for him because we're black. I think I understand what he was saying, though, because he's pretty certain that most black people are not going to want to vote for Trump.
Right.
But the assumption is that since you ain't got nobody else, might as well vote for me.
But isn't that what Trump said in the first, when he first ran? He said...
I don't be listening to him. I don't know what he said. You tell us what he said.
He was I think he was at a church, and he was like, based on all the people who are running right now, what do you got to lose? And that's what it sounds like. That's what I'm hearing from Biden is, well, what do you got to lose? And
we have a lot to lose.
I was with Obama.
Right. We have a lot to lose.
Yeah,
we do.
A whole lot.
We have a lot to lose, and we've already been losing for the last 4 years.
Right. And
we have gone.
Our freedom, our literal freedom, is at stake.
It really does, and that's why I'm telling people, don't just opt not to vote. Right. Because that is dangerous. Trump sits back and says, you know what? Yes, my pretties. Because he's hoping you won't show up and vote.
Right.
He's hoping that.
Right.
So I say, dig a little deeper and try to understand where Joe Biden was coming. Now, I'm not saying you should excuse what he said, because he should know better.
Yeah, we got to hold them accountable. That's
we have to hold them accountable. Right. So he needs some education. Trump needs education as well. But between the two, who's willing to learn the lessons? And
that's something to think about.
Yeah, who's willing to learn these lessons? Because for me, when I look at it, it boils down to two things. Okay. On one hand, are you going to just not show up and vote and allow Trump to sit in the White House for another 4 years?
Right.
The second is, are you able to look past what he said to try to get to the heart of what he meant and then decide from there?
Okay.
Right? So that's really the only two options you have, because we only have two candidates to choose from. Right, now, part of the problem that we had last election was that people did not trust Hillary.
Right.
Now, if we get to a point where this is already starting to spin, where people do not trust Joe Biden, he's going to have a hard time securing the black vote, which means a lot of black voters are not going to turn out to vote. What do you think?
I think you have a point there. If he doesn't, and now it's how can he fix it? Because at this point, it's almost like, what can I say? So it would be a matter of if he can put things in context, and if he can do it calmly, because he has a history of when he feels like he's backed into a corner, he comes out swinging.
Right.
And like, did you see the one about where this guy, he challenged the guy to push-ups? He's like, I'm strong, we can do push-ups right now. I'm like, what are you doing?
I kind of like that. I ain't no punk.
You can't just go after people, man.
Right.
I mean, you can, but
I kind of like that. But yeah, I do.
You're like Thug Life for Bill too, but
right?
Man, come on, you can't go challenging. And not that age really shouldn't matter, but you're an old man and you're challenging another old man to push-ups. Are you? Yeah. What, are we trying to relive our prime?
Yeah, I understand.
And is that the way we really want to see our leaders? What if he has get into a confrontation with another world power? Are you gonna challenge them to a fist fight or something? We're gonna don gloves and get the ring, which might not be a bad idea.
I've said for years, if these presidents of all these countries would just get in a ring and duke it out amongst themselves, because most of these conflicts are them. It's not us.
Right.
Has nothing to do whatsoever with whatever country is having the conflict. Like, we could use China for an example. Between the Chinese government and the American government and all this bickering that they have going back and forth, people just want to get back to work.
Yep.
They just want to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Right.
That's what we want.
Right.
You two, if you got issues, you guys need to work that out.
Right.
Go to couples therapy.
There
Do
you
something.
Go. Couples therapy
right?
might work.
But the more you escalate things in the world, the more you risk armed conflict. And we definitely don't want that. But I do think we're getting off track.
Right, we are. So back to Joe and how he can potentially fix this, even if he feels the need to fix it. I think also that it will have to be something on our part, and by our I mean black people, that we need to take a minute, calm down, and when he speaks, let him speak.
I think it's
like really
education.
Hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
And then we can, and then at that point, I'm like, no, you meant what you said. Bro.
Right. And he probably did mean what he said.
No doubt.
And to a certain extent, I kind of agree with him. Like, why in your right mind as a black person would you vote for Trump?
Right.
Why would you do that as a black person, knowing the history and the track record that Trump does not care about you? And I really think that's what he was trying to say. But as a white person running for president saying it, that's a no-no.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, we talk about the N word. That's our word.
Yeah, you don't get to say
that. You are not allowed to say that. And I think that's what we're dealing with here. He just wasn't the right person to make a comment like that, to make a statement like that, and just assume, like you said, because we're black, that we're going to vote for him. And I think that's really the issue. But I'm asking you to really look at the facts. Look at the whole picture as opposed to just saying, I'm just not going to vote. Right. Because I am pretty confident that most black people in their right mind are not going to go out and vote for Trump, which is what I think he was saying, which is what I think Joe Biden was saying. Okay. Most black people in their right mind, why would you vote for him?
Okay, and then at the same time, we got to go back to, we saw the interview when he said those words, and he did say, I'm on my way out the door, my wife's got to go do something, so I got to go. And then Charlamagne the God was trying to get in like one last question, and then he just kind of blurted it out. So we can go with that. Say, okay, he was in a hurry. He had to go.
It doesn't matter.
On my way out, I'm just going to say, you ain't black if you don't vote for me.
Right. Right? That's probably what it was, which is why his press secretary was in the back going, no, God, turn the cameras off. Because I really think that was the case. He just didn't think before he spoke. But I think
that's a problem for him.
That's a problem. But I think he spoke his true words, but I don't think it's bad enough to
dismiss him. Okay.
Because I do believe that he learned something from Obama. I do believe that his own track record has something there. There's some substance there.
Right.
So I don't think we should allow one thing to kind of dismantle all of that. And that would be very easy to do, to say, you know what, I'm mad at him, so I'm not going to vote for him. Okay, if you choose not to vote for him, but you only have one other candidate to choose from. So do you want to vote for Trump and have him in the White House for another 4 years? Or do you want to hear out Joe Biden and see what he has to say? Right. I'm not endorsing either way. Right? Because I know definitely I'm not voting for Trump. But then it's like we have no one else left but Joe Biden. So I owe it to myself to see what he can do for the African American community.
Right. And we owe it to ourselves as well to make sure that we understand the electoral process and what our rights are as citizens. If we can go back and it's available on, everything's online now. So read the Constitution, find out what are the steps, how does this process work, kind of thing. That way that when it is time for us to vote, we go in with as much knowledge as we can so we can make really informed decisions.
Exactly. And looking at the way the world is right now and the direction that our country is headed in when it comes to the African American community, again, we cannot afford to have things continue the way they have been. Right. We're going backwards. And as our history has shown us, the past wasn't very good for us. Mm-hmm. We have come a long way, and we have to keep that momentum. And we need a candidate that's going to do that for us. Do you think that's going to be Trump? Do you think that's going to be Joe Biden? And that's what it boils down to for November.
Right. I agree.
All right. So this is Unbasic Black. Comment down below. Tell us what you think, because I really think that this is going to be an important deciding factor come November. It shouldn't be the make or break, but America loves a scandal, so America loves a scandal. So we'll talk about this, and we'll try to stay on top of everything as the months and weeks and days ahead.
Because we're coming up on June now, and November's is right around the corner. So
and if you have not registered to vote yet, please, there's a link down below. Please make sure you go online, register to vote in your state, so that way come November you can just swing by the polls and get her done.
Yep.
Okay.
So or mail them in, because they're trying to do the mail-in thing now.
Yep, they're trying to do the mail-in thing. So make sure you're registered to vote. Yes. Most states, I believe, it's like 60 to 90 days out from the actual election date. So again, I'll leave the link below where it's very easy. It only take you about 2 minutes. Go down below, register to vote, and make sure you're ready come November. Please do not lose this momentum that we've had.
Yeah, this is important.
This is a very important election, so please make sure you show up. All right?
All right.
I'm Angel.
I'm May.
And this is Unbasic Black. Thanks for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe.